welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking all about Black Widow, the movie.
Dun dun dun.
But first, Dan, did you like anything this week?
Yeah, I have a few things here. It's been a bit since we've recorded. I think they're all books actually at this time, aside from, of course, what we're going to talk about. But I read a book called How Fascism Works by Jason Stanley.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was really good. It was published quite recently, and then I think there was either republished or there was a new introduction that talked about some 2020 type stuff, and it basically breaks down the 10 pillars of fascism and with some real world examples and just kind of how that all kind of works. And it was pretty brutal to read because it's very current.
Uh-oh.
That's basically, and that's a big through line through his book, as that he basically talks about, he's like, democratic systems of government have to be on the lookout for these kinds of things because it's easy-ish to fall into these fascistic, tendencies and stuff like that. And it was intense. It was a good read though. Not very long. It was like 274 page count or so pretty quick.
Cool.
But I do recommend. And then after that, I was like, well, that's kind of a downer. So I read a book called Creating Character Arcs.
Nice.
Which was just a book about character arcs and stories, movies, books, and etc. So that was kind of a neat thing. I always enjoy trying to, read some more behind the scenes and how stories and creation should work, because we do a podcast about that, and I want to get better at that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And again, this one was pretty short, not too long. And then to do a whole 180, I read Prospero Burns, which is another Warhammer 40K novel.
Nice.
Written by Dan Abnett, which I've enjoyed his stuff. And this is, again, in the Horus Heresy, which takes place before the 40K universe. It's like in the 39th millennium, basically. And this one, it was kind of neat because in, I believe, the book before this one, I haven't read it some in a while, but it was about a planet, Prospero, and it was like about the Space Marines that lived there and about them, the previous one. But this one was about the people who eventually attacked that planet and about their Space Marine clan and everything. And it was just kind of a neat, different perspective. And so like some of the events line up that are in both the books, and so they kind of cross paths and stuff like that. And I mean, spoiler alert, the planet burns.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, no, good characters, interesting characterization, and like I said, I enjoy his stuff. And the last one, kind of a short story. I've been meaning to get to this one for a long time. It's a interquel, I think after the second, I want to say, in the Stormlight Archive, but it's called Edge Dancer. And it's about an edge dancer. Lift is her name. And it's just kind of a short story introducing this character, because she shows up in the book 2 or 3, I think it is. But there's like very little of like, what's her deal? And so this was a short story just about her going on an adventure. And she's just like a street urchin. But, there's more going on there. And she's becoming one of the Night Radiants and stuff like that, and it was good fun.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's Brandon Sanderson. He's been writing some of the best.
So if it's a short story and it's Brandon Sanderson, does that mean it's only like 900 pages?
Actually, there is an author's note in it where I think he was saying, he's like, originally it was going to be like 10,000 words, and it ended up being like 40,000 words.
He writes long things.
He does, but it's somehow like, you don't even notice how the length of the book. By the time this ends, you still want more. You're like, no, it's why isn't there more?
Oh, that's always a good sign.
Yeah, his writing is quite excellent, and really enjoying his stuff these days. And yeah, he's writing some of the best fantasy out there. So check it out.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that's about it for me at the moment. What about you, Devin? Got some stuff that you liked?
I only have 3 things because, as I've mentioned previously, I'm in school right now, and it takes up 90% of my life.
Nice.
So first, I watched a beautiful piece of cinematic masterpiece that is called Fast and Furious 9.
Oh yes, the highest of highest of auteur cinema.
Which was interesting going into it because I have not seen the Fast and Furious 1 through 8.
So you haven't even seen any of them.
No, I've seen none of them.
Yeah, like I personally have only seen like bits and pieces of a couple of them from like Booth, but I've actually also never sat down and watched a full Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, it was during we're from Vancouver, and Vancouver had an intense heat wave where
Mm.
like like the temperature was like above what it would be in like Arizona at the hottest time of years. Like it was pretty crazy. And
It was rowdy.
yeah, especially hang on one second, I'm just closing my window. There's people like fast and furiousing outside.
I know, I could hear.
So it was during the peak of the hot temperature. I went and saw Fast and Furious 9 so I could sit in air conditioning. I'm not sure that I could accurately summarize the movie because I wasn't totally sure what was happening even when I was watching it. But it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of stupid stuff in it.
Sure.
It's entertaining. I recommend it if you are hot and you need to go sit in air conditioning.
Nice.
Next, I read a historical romance novel called Wild Child by Eloisa James, I think. That was who wrote it. And that was very entertaining.
Nice.
It's about the daughter of a duke who her mother had cheated with this guy and then ran off with him. But she was raised as the duke's daughter, but she had blonde hair, so everybody knew that she wasn't actually the duke's daughter.
Okay, yeah.
So she just kind of did whatever she wanted because she's like, well, I'm going to be a spinster anyways, so I might as well do whatever the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm.
And then a duke falls in love with her because
Oh, darn.
yeah. And they get married.
Nice.
And then finally, I'm in the middle of watching Drag Race All Stars 6, and it is a very entertaining season so far. And I am Team Trinity K. Bonet, in case anyone was wondering.
Nice.
I don't think anyone was, but that's
I don't know.
who I'm rooting for.
No, I was gonna say when you did the drag race episode, there you got people listened. I mean, there was downloads, so I assume they listened.
They listened to me and Tony talk.
Yeah, so the people
Well,
enjoy your drag race thoughts.
Maybe I'll do a recap of All Stars 9 when it's over.
Yeah.
I can recap the whole season for you, Dan. You'll love it.
I don't know, maybe.
It's like two of my favorite things, trying to explain things to you that you're not familiar with. Not because you're bad at understanding, but because I'm bad at explaining things. And Drag Race, so yeah.
I was going to say, before you wrap up, I just wanted to circle back to Fast 9. Having never seen any of them before, who was your favorite character?
Oh, I would have to say none of them.
Is that like in a good way that they all got play and you're like, okay, everybody, I get them?
Well, okay, first of all, I don't remember any of their names because they're incredibly bland.
Oh, no, yeah, I would just assume you'd name an actor.
Oh, okay. No, none of them are particularly good, and none of them are particularly, like, there was no one that when I watched it, that I thought, oh man, he's the only actor, she's the only actor that could play this part.
Right.
I kind of felt like all of them, especially Vin Diesel, was pretty checked out doing it. Like, there is a lot of flashbacks to like Vin Diesel as a kid, which I guess would have been set right before the first Fast and Furious.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of felt like they did that because Vin Diesel didn't want to shoot for more than like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Yeah, because then they're just like the rest is on a green screen if you're just going for
Yeah. It was really funny because it feels like a movie that was made so that men can talk about feelings, because there's a lot of like feelings talk in the Fast and Furious movie, but it's all like, well, people are shooting guns or driving fast. So it's like, doesn't count, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. It was a strange but fun movie. Also, I'm fairly certain that they wanted to incorporate magic into the movie, but they thought that'd be too far-fetched. So instead they have magnets that are basically magical.
Right, yeah, you were telling me about the magnet vehicles.
Yeah. Ugh, this movie. I do recommend it though. It was really fun. It was just like you can't think too hard about anything or pay any attention to the plot. Like just enjoy it. It's a very zen movie, right? Like don't think about anything that's happened previously in the movie. Don't think about anything that's going to happen in the movie. Just be in the moment, shot to shot throughout the whole movie, and you'll enjoy it.
Let it wash over you.
Just let it wash over you. Experience F9. Or as Peter was saying, you could just call it fine.
Yeah. Nice.
Fast and Furious. Fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough about that.
Indeed.
Let's talk about the widow that is black.
With red hair.
With red hair. Before we get into it, what first impressions? What do you think?
Oh my gosh, it's complex now. But I did enjoy the movie, and it was cool to go see it in theater. But my main thing, and I was been saying it for too long, is that unfortunately they should have made a Black Widow movie a long time ago.
Agreed.
But it was cool to go see the movie in the theater, and I enjoyed that as well. I don't know. Yeah. What about yourself? First impressions?
I did enjoy the movie, and I can honestly say that of all the movies that I've seen in theater in 2021, it was the best.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
So it beat Cruella and Fast and Furious 9.
Sure. High bar.
High bar. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite Marvel movie, and it's not my least favorite Marvel movie. It's somewhere in the middle.
Well, and I think part of my issue with it, before when we'll get to it, but it feels like it was two movies mashed together because unfortunately, we know Black Widow is dead, and the way the timeline, because I didn't know going in when they were going to set the movie, because obviously it has to be before she's dead. But I just wasn't sure how far back they were going to go, and they chose after Civil War, which that's cool. But it was like, so then it just seems like again, if they had made like this would be a great second movie if we had a movie before this.
Or they could have just, if it's set right after Civil War, then they should have had it come out right after Civil War.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and I don't want to get too into the whole back end Disney previous execs and etc. when they're all like female superhero movies are bad, and it's like you just gotta make a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did want to talk a bit before the director is a woman named Kate Shortland. I'm sure of her work, and then it was written by Eric Pearson, Jack Schaefer, and Ned Benson, and the budget it's $200 million, which is crazy high.
Yeah.
But as of we're recording right now, this is something I don't know if I wanted to talk about an hour later, but the box office so far it's done $206 million worldwide.
Okay.
And we're recording about a week after its release, I think.
Yeah.
And so that's like, okay, that's good, but the movie is also released on Disney Plus with their premiere access, and they don't say, they don't tell us if that's doing well or not, right?
I imagine it is doing well right now between Mandalorian, Vision, WandaVision, Winter Soldier, Loki, and Black Widow.
Yeah, but I just mean like, are many people paying for that premiere access to the movie? Because the Cruella did the same thing, and it was like it's on Disney Plus if you pay. So did Mulan, but Mulan didn't have a wide theater release, I have to think, at the same time, but Cruella did. So
I think Cruella here. Okay, I think Cruella did well with their premium, like rented on Disney Plus or buy it, whatever, because there were so many clips of it on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and YouTube clips and stuff like that. So I think people paid for it so that they could download it so they could put it on the internet.
Yeah, because I was gonna say Cruella. I looked it up. Its worldwide box office was only 218 million.
Oh.
But again, that was earlier. There was still more pandemic closure. So, but then again,
Maybe it was because it's also a very bad movie.
well, that's a possibility. But like I said, it's just kind of interesting that is there a lot of people downloading and renting, paying for that premiere access? I don't know. They keep that hidden away.
I'm gonna say I think they've probably made less than they did with like the theatrical release from it, but I think they probably have made, like, I think about my dad will pay-per-view everything.
Right.
Like any new movie that he didn't see in theaters, he will pay-per-view it. So I feel like there is a market for it, and I would say, like, conservatively, they probably did a quarter of what they did theatrically on Disney Plus rentals.
Oh, wow. That's actually lower than even I was thinking. I was thinking higher. Yeah, it's just like it's an interesting model. And like I said, it's only been about a week in its run, and there's nothing really else coming out for a while anyway. So, it's going to have some time in the theater to potentially make more money anyway.
Oh, yeah. I think people will go see it too. I think people are just excited to have theaters open again. I know I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like, I'm there.
I love going to the movies. I missed it so much. That was like, for like, I don't know, the last month before theaters reopened, I was just complaining every day. It was like, why can't I go to a movie theater?
Yeah. Yeah, like literally the last movie I saw in theater was Tenet.
Tenet.
Sorry, I'm listening to the Weekly Planet. That's how they pronounce it. Tenet as a joke, right?
Oh, Tenet. That movie was so something.
I'll be honest, and I know I've watched it many times since it came out, and it definitely does get better on more rewatches. I've also been listening to some stuff about Nolan's process, and his idea behind audio design is that he's like, well, in a chaotic thing, you're not going to be hearing everything anyway. And I'm like, I get that for like a realism type thing, but it's a movie, and we actually have to understand what they're saying so that we can understand what's going on.
Also, like, if you're gonna go super realism, then like you can't. It doesn't work in Tenet.
Well, I'm just talking about the audio, like.
No, but I know. But if he's like concerned about realism in the audio, then it doesn't. There's a intellectual dissonance because you're watching something that's so fantastical, and then he's like, I want the audio to be based in reality. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Just let me hear what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we're not here for Tenet talk. We're supposed to be talking Black Widow.
Fuck it. This is our new podcast. It's Tenet talk, and I just complain about the sound design.
Because, the movie.
Hours of me just bitching.
It's a 10-episode series. 10-episode miniseries.
That's right. 10 hours of me complaining and you being like, no, it's actually good. He's a good director. And me being like, I can't fucking hear anything, Dan.
we take 10 hours, we break the movie down into how many minute chunks, and then we just talk about that chunk for that hour.
Perfect.
Yeah. But of course,
that can be our successful podcast that makes
yeah,
lots of money.
because the Nolan Bros can hate on us.
Oh my gosh, we could get hate mail. That's how you know you made it.
Yeah. We're talking Natasha Romanov here.
I should do
ScarJo.
some hot takes to get hate mail.
I don't know. We've received a couple negative-ish comments, but nothing hate anyway.
We've had negative comments?
Well, like I said, negative-ish, but not like full-on hate.
On what?
We got one on Instagram, and then I think YouTube.
Are you talking about the guy that was like, "Don't use this hashtag anymore"?
Yeah, there was that guy. That was funny.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna focus now. I promise.
Sure.
Black Widow.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson. What do you think of her performance?
Eh. But I feel that way about Scarlett Johansson right now. Like, she kind of, it seems like she's been prescribed Ambien and it never really fully wears off.
Mm.
I don't know. Do you feel the same way, or did you think she was really excellent?
I think she was serviceable, and I don't know. Again, it's an odd circumstance because, of course, her character is dead, so she's not going to be continuing on. So it's kind of like, how much heart would she put into the project? I don't know. I think there were some scenes where she did do well. I think it was just, this is part of my complaint about the movie, is that because it was so many elements were thrown in, there wasn't as much time to spend with just Scarlett Johansson in the Black Widow movie, because in all the other Marvel movies, she's also part of the ensemble, and then they make an ensemble cast in this, and so she's just one part of the entire ensemble. Unfortunately, because David Harbour was great, Rachel Weisz was pretty good, her sister Florence Pugh, I think it's Pugh, she did really well. I thought she was quite excellent.
I thought the sister was the standout of the whole movie, personally. Yeah. And it felt a little bit, especially with the post-credit scene, like it was a setup to introduce a sister into the Marvel Universe.
Of course, yeah.
But I felt like if I was going to praise two things in this movie, it would be like the sister, so the actress playing the sister was really charismatic, incredibly charming, and heartfelt. And the fight choreography would be the other thing. Because I thought the fight scenes looked really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, interesting.
I very much enjoyed any time they were fighting. I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is great. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, and like I said, that was one of the things that I think detracts from more screen time with Scarlett Johansson, is that, yeah, like the scene when they're at Rachel Weisz's house and Florence Pugh, and Rachel Weisz is talking about the experiments, and she's like, that was me, and she's like breaking down, and then she goes into the room and have that scene with her and David Harbour. It was like really good. Like, that's a great scene.
Oh, that was a really great scene.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll get into the plot in a second, but I did feel like the movie didn't quite fall apart, but it did seem like it was starting to, after they left Rachel Weisz's house.
Well, because after that, it was just essentially the climactic action set piece.
And I felt like it was the weakest part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there was something, I don't know if it was the editing or the script or what really happened there, but it felt like it was losing its heart, and then it was like a lot of information.
Yeah, and I think one of my issues with it was, of course, we're talking spoilers, but that they go to like a sky fortress.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we've established that there are sky fortresses in the MCU, but I was trying to think, and you could confirm or deny this as well, but I was like, why not go to just an underground or a mountain base? Like, has there been one in the MCU? I think Ultron kind of had that, but he was also crashing a city, so that really counts.
Well, wasn't Ultron...
Because that was the Hydra base. It was like
Yeah, it
under
was
that
just a
castle.
Hydra base, but it wasn't underground or anything.
Well, it was like in the basement of a castle.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, because it was something else. So I've read the storyline that this is sort of kind of based on, and that climax happens in an Antarctic underground shield base slash facility.
Oh, that would have been better.
Yeah, and I was like, that gives you opportunity for like harsh shadows and darkness and Black Widow to be the spy, right? Like to sneak around and do some stuff there.
Yeah,
Because
she
that's one
didn't
thing
do a
that
lot of
this,
spying in this.
yeah, and I feel like that's one thing that we've always been missing, and this is the character to do it with, is that like she operates from the shadows. And yes, I know she also does her spying like in the open with her masks and everything, and that's cool, but it's like we've never had that her in the dark doing some darkness stuff.
You know, they should really do like another flashback and call it like Clint and Natasha and just have it be them being spies somewhere.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned that many times that like that should have been that first movie is her and him, you know, in some kind of spy adventure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, yeah, I was kind of disappointed when they went to another Sky Fortress, and I was like, eh, and because I liked a lot of the stuff that kind of took place in the Sky Fortress, but I was also so when Rachel Weisz is like, yeah, we're crashing the Sky Fortress, and then I was like, it just crashes for a long time for being a Sky Fortress.
I also felt like Rachel Weisz kind of became like what's a term when there's like a thing like a Horcrux all of a sudden?
Like a MacGuffin.
Yeah, I felt like her character was a MacGuffin.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the story.
Sure, we could talk a little bit about the story. Yeah.
So we open with a lot of images for the credit scene. I
No,
kind
well,
of felt like they relied too heavily on this like I don't know mid 90s Nine Inch Nails style music video montage for a lot of it.
well, because of course, like the opening them in America, I liked that. That was cool.
No, I liked that. I mean, there was a lot of so like it started with maybe this came after that. Now my brain's not
Well, that's what
working.
I'm thinking. I thought, yeah, it opens up with her on the bike, and
No, but
then
the opening credits specifically, where they're like showing like really quick clips of. No, I guess it came after. It came after that opening, but like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they do the escape, and then that the credits show up. But yes, that's all right. So you didn't like the credit design, is what you're saying?
I didn't like the credit design. I thought it looked really cheap and old.
Mm,
Yeah, and it also looked like something that I could do with with sufficient stock footage.
right.
And I'm like, this is a Marvel movie, and I have Vegas Pro 15 on my computer. So like, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like you spent $200 million on this. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done it for $20.
Yeah.
Okay. So we open with young Natasha and young, what was the sister's name?
Yelena or Yelena?
Yelena?
I think it's Yelena or Yelena. Yelena.
Yelena.
Yeah.
Natasha and Yelena are with their parents in Colorado? Ohio?
Ohio. Yes.
Ohio. I got the O part right.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And they seem to be a loving family. And then dad comes home and he's like, we gotta go. We have an hour. They leave everything behind. Yelena doesn't even get to grab her shoes. They drive to an airport. There's a police altercation. Rachel Weisz gets shot. They land the plane. They take off. They land the plane in Cuba. Rachel Weisz gets carted away. Young Natasha tries to take on the army with a gun.
Take on everyone. Well, and I would say there's an important thing that happens before that when they're setting up to get the plane. David Harbour's character just reefs this metal thing out of the way.
Oh yeah,
And
that was cool.
yeah, it was very cool, but it's very superhuman. And you're like, wait, something's going on here.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to point out that when they get to Cuba, Yelena has a Twilight Sparkle My Little Pony, which did not exist at the time when it's supposed to be taking place.
I mean, My Little Pony's been around for a long time.
But this is from the My Little Pony reboot TV show Friendship is Magic.
Oh,
And
okay.
that character did not exist at that time, and that was a very big oversight for somebody.
In the production design.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that actress's like actual one, and they were like, it makes her comfortable, just leave her with it, because the scene was kind of intense when Natasha's drawing the gun and trying to protect her sister and telling everybody to get away.
No, I'm not accepting that. It's a Marvel show. They're owned by Disney. She could have a Little Mermaid doll or some shit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like that specific My Little Pony is much younger than that time period. So I'm mad.
Fair enough. But yeah, then they get drugged in the neck and dragged into a truck, and then blammo, credits montage.
Yeah, there's some like, I don't know, they're trying to whatever. Okay, so credits montage. I don't remember what happens next.
Well, it flashes to the current time or the quote unquote current time where it's after Civil War, and William Hurt is sending some SWAT guys in. He's on the phone with Natasha, and we see
Yeah.
it cuts back and forth between her where she's like getting undressed and changed, and then he's like, "Hey, you should come in, blah blah blah, we got you," kind of thing, and she's like, You're gonna embarrass yourself," and then they bust in, and she's not there. Classic.
Haha. She's on a ferry
She's on a boat.
in Norway. Right?
Yeah.
Norway?
Well, she eventually ends up in Norway, but the boat's on the way or whatever kind of thing. But she ditches her phone, and she's like, "I'm going to live in this trailer in Norway."
Yeah. And then we get a scene where it's at about this time when her sister's running down the girl.
Yeah.
So it's her sister, Yelena, as an adult, and a bunch of other Black Widows, because that's what they're called. And they're chasing a lady with a briefcase. And she stabs the lady, and the lady throws red magic in her eyes. And then that's when she snaps out of the chemical mind control she was under, and she takes the briefcase and runs away.
Yeah, and like you said, the fight choreography was pretty cool, and just the fact that she like did stab her, and I was kind of like, oh, like I was like, wow, this sets the tone of what kind of movie this is gonna be at, like level for that kind of thing. But then it never continued at that level.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I was just like, all right.
So the basic premise is that the Black Widows, who are getting trained in this school that Natasha went to, they used to be brainwashed, but now they're like chemically altered.
Yeah, and like they're being like not only brainwashed, but like chemically controlled and like mind controlled in a sense.
Yeah, and then there's vials of red stuff that unchemically controls them.
Yeah, it can like neutralize the chemical control. Got it.
I really disliked this plot point.
I was also kind of.
I thought it looked, out of all the like special effects in this movie, I thought it looked really bad. Like, well, it looked really like theatrical and dumb in a movie that's supposed to be kind of like gray and grounded in reality.
Yeah. And my limited knowledge of special effects is like smoke/gas is one of the hardest things to do. So
don't do it. Just make it so they have to get like a shot or something. Like you just fire a dart at them or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If it's hard to do and you can't do it well, don't do it. Just do something else. Like it could have been that they had to be injected or something, right? That would have worked for close-in fights.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, again, like I said, this may have been done in another storyline, but in the one that I was talking about previously that I read, it's like they just had the same kind of level of, because basically Natasha did destroy the Red Room, and then there was like it was called the Dark Room, and it basically used the same mind control brainwashing, and so it's not to that same like chemical body control level. So I was like, again, this seems like this would be something in a second movie where it's like, oh, the stakes are way higher now. It's like now they're like chemically mind controlling people, not just brainwashing them.
Yeah. I also felt like it was a bit like a get out of jail free card so that they could have characters mention things in the past that they've done that are kind of horrific, but not take any responsibility for it.
Sure.
And I just feel like that's kind of lazy.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying as well. Like it's like that level tips it over to they're just mindless automatons, and it's like
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like that part of the movie. I just really liked the fight choreography. It's worth watching it for that.
Sure.
And for the sister, I guess. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
continuing on with the story. ScarJo's in her trailer. Her buddy gives her a box of mail. She puts it in the back of her car, and she has to go into town to get more gas because her generator ran out of gas. On the way, she gets attacked on a bridge by a robot-looking person who wants the briefcase, which was in her box of mail because somebody sent it to her house in where was it?
Budapest.
Budapest, yeah. So she fights the robot and jumps off the bridge and gets away with the red things that were in the briefcase.
Yeah, some classic misdirection and gets out of there.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, this because the rocket attack is like blam out of nowhere, right? And I was just like, okay. And again, she goes rolling over and is intense. And again, a well done scene between the two, the fight, and you get this sense that the robot, there's something going on here because it's like mimicking her moves and she can't take it down in any kind of way.
It was a very cool fight scene.
Yeah, and then like you said, she uses some misdirection, gets away. I don't know. Again, it's like the amount of hurt that she would take in that instance. It's like, okay, wow. But as the movie progresses, which we'll get to, it's like she's always just getting massively hurt, but somehow surviving okay. And I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous here.
Yeah.
But it was also kind of like crazy because it was like how quickly it happened. Like there was no kind of okay, like Scarlett Johansson, she's chilling in town. Like it seems like it's the next day.
It does. I think it is like that night. I think the generator runs out of gas that night.
Yeah, so it's like there was literally like no time in between.
They did have some nice product placement for blonde hair dye, though.
Oh yes, that's true.
It was like she pulls it out of. She doesn't dye her hair till the end of the movie. Spoilers. But she does pull it out of the shopping bag, and we get a nice lingering shot of her holding like, I don't know, Garnier or some shit.
Yeah.
ScarJo goes to Budapest.
Mm-hmm.
Was this supposed to be her apartment?
Well, it was. So that guy was saying it was like a previous safe house of hers, I think, and he was like, "Oh, you're not going to be using it, so I got someone else that can use it now."
Right. So she goes there. Her sister's there. They have a very excellent fight scene.
Yeah, it's a classic kind of like Bourne-esque where it just starts to escalate and they have to use, kitchen knives and random stuff in the area.
And the curtains.
Yeah, exactly.
Her sister finds out that she has the red stuff, and then they get attacked by Black Widows.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pretty good fight scene. One of them dies. She gets thrown off the roof and is injured. ScarJo goes to help her, and through no control of her own, she kills herself.
Yeah.
The Black Widow, not ScarJo.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, this was so when they're doing that, they jump off the roof and they're on that concrete thing, and then it breaks and Scarlett Johansson like falls. This was something that like they've never really kind of done with her character in this way, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but like they never really kind of go the gymnast route because she takes that fall and like hits the first thing, and then she never like turns it to her advantage. Like she does land on her feet, but it's after hitting like three metal ducks on her way down.
Did you like watching that? I'm like, she would have broken her legs landing.
She would have
like
broken
that.
half the bones in her body.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way that she wouldn't have even rolled in like an ankle.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. So that's what I was like in that fall. I was like, okay, she, superhero-esque. She takes the first one, she gets hurt, but then she manages to turn it around and like, do an acrobatic maneuver off the last two and then land. And you're like, yeah, superhero. Instead, she like bangs her way down like she's Thor or something, and then lands, and you're like, wait, you'd be dead. You're human.
Yeah. If you weren't dead, you'd be in a body cast at least.
Yeah. And
But
that's
she's
where I was
fine.
like, yeah, no, I was like, this is good. Like she's kind of hunched over and like holding her side. You're like, oh yeah, and you're like, yeah, you'd be half your ribs would easily be broken.
She's like, ooh, ouchie, and then she keeps going.
Yeah, but it was pretty intense. Again, that widow killing herself because you're like, oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, it would have been even more messed up if like we had an established friendship between her and Scar, or between her and the sister. Would have been a little bit more meaningful, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're faceless.
Yeah, they don't matter.
Yeah, I think that actually, now that you say that, that's kind of interesting. If there was another scene with the Elena and her and some of these other widows that, yeah, when they were like out on like before the chase mission part where she shanks that lady, yeah, if there was something there, so then you're like, oh, we sort of know these people and there's something going on with them. It's not that they're just total bad guys or something. Yeah.
Yeah, if there was like a 2-minute scene where like it shows that they had like an inside joke, or like
Yeah.
she helped out the sister a little bit when she didn't need to, something like that
Yeah. Yeah.
would have mattered a little bit more, but it didn't, so that's fine.
Yeah. But move on. Onto the motorbike and let's get out of here.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of a car chase scene with Robot. They get away and they share a couple beers and have a sisterly bond.
Whoa. Backtrack a little because when they get away by first their vehicle gets shot and exploded and then rolls upside down and then down into a train station.
Oh, yeah.
After they've been shot at, exploded, taken huge falls.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
But I did like how they threw Taskmaster off the scent by having her like bleed, and then she's like, "Oh, don't patch it up yet," and then the sewer grate, and then they actually went into the venting, and I was like, "Oh, that's good misdirect, very cool."
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I forgot about that scene.
Because again, it was like, you're human, both of you. I did like it in the car because she's like, put your seatbelt on, and then her sister's like, oh, you're such a mom, and then there's the explosion essentially happens. She's like, yeah, this is gonna be bad. So I was like, okay, granted, there's airbags, blah blah blah, but yeah, they would be a little more crunched up, and then they do share some beers, which was fun.
And a sisterly bond. We find out that the sister has a vest.
Yes.
She teases Black Widow about always posing when she lands, which was pretty funny. They steal like a hardworking dad's car.
Yeah, because they're like, she's like, okay, Dreykov's still alive. Let's track him down and kill him.
Oh yeah, it's also revealed that Scarlett Johansson used Dreykov's, who runs the Red Room, his daughter, as a way to figure out where he was, and then she fire exploded the Red Room and him and the daughter.
It, detonated the building that they're in and collapsed it.
Yeah. Okay. So they steal that poor nice man's car after drinking and driving.
They had one beer.
And stealing a car.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, are we watching heroes or villains here, Dan?
She's Black Widow.
Okay, so they steal this nice man's car, who just seems like a nice, hardworking dad. Um, and then they decide that they're gonna go break their fake dad out of prison so that he can lead them to the Red Room.
Yeah, because she's like, he probably knows where Dreykov is. Let's get him.
Yeah. And the prison break scene is really excellent.
Yeah, it was classic stuff, very enjoyable.
Highlight
Visually
of the
pretty cool.
movie for me. I really liked that scene.
Oh yeah, cool.
Had a good mix of humor and action and avalanches.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of interesting because I was like, all right, it's just going chugging along, good prison break scene, and yeah, then when they throw in the avalanche element, I was like, okay, that's just getting crazy now.
This is stupid, but I like it.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious 9 levels of fun.
Well, and of course, yeah, like Scarlett Johansson gets on a cable and then does the superhero pose land, and then her sister mocks her a little bit for it. So we get a good laugh at that. But yeah, it was cool because David Harbour, he's introduced back and he's the Red Guardian and he's just boasting about his adventures, but he's clearly like over the hill, but he's still able to like jump around, do some good punching, and then they escape.
They escape and they go to Rachel Weisz's house because Dad doesn't know where the Red Room is, but he thinks that Mom might.
Yeah. Melina.
Melina. So they get there, and she has some very cute pigs that she controls with an iPad.
I was just going to say before that, or I guess this is something that could come up later, but there was some more stuff with Alexei, David Harbour, talking about like fighting Captain America, and he's talking with like ScarJo about it and stuff like that. It's something I'll bring it back later. It's kind of interesting.
No, go ahead. Yes. Tell me about it now. I want to know.
No, it's outside the movie stuff. We're talking in the movie right now. We'll go back to Melina with the pigs that she is iPad controlling.
Yes. And so they go and they have dinner. Seems like a nice family reunion. We find out that she was able to control the Black Widows with chemicals instead of just brainwashing. We find out that she went through the Red Room. Sister gets upset. Dad goes to console her. Console.
Yeah.
Console her. They sing a song together, and then we find out that Melina has betrayed them to the bad guy.
Yeah, to Dreykov. Yeah, and like I said, I think this was like some of the best stuff in the movie because Scarlett Johansson's character, Natasha. Anyway, she's just pissed, right? Because she's just like, you're an idiot and you're a coward to Melina because she's like, you've been doing this for decades and you're just ruining people's lives. And she's like, Alexei, you're just a boastful jackass. But you can tell she obviously still cares about Yelena. And, like I said, when Yelena is like, that was me. They experimented on me. Like, your technology, you fucked me up. And I was just like, damn.
Yep. And so, the scene where, Scarlett's like, none of it was real. And then the sister is like, it was real to me. It was the only good 3 years of my life.
Yeah, plus she was younger than Natasha, so she had less, like, not agency, but you know what I mean? You when you're younger, you don't know everything that's going on around you.
Yeah, totally.
Even though she was a spy, right? But it was like, yeah, she was like, it was real.
Yeah. I appreciated the scene when it turns out that Melina had kept the photo album.
Mm-hmm.
And Scarlett flips through it and she's like, oh yeah, I remember this day. We took like a bunch of different holiday pictures because it was all staged. I was like, oh, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it was. It was a nice moment. Yeah, because she's like, I knew there was nothing in the boxes, but I still wanted to open them and stuff like that. Again, some good moments that unfortunately we didn't get enough of.
Totally. And then things start to get stupid.
I mean, there was good. it was kind of a comical capture of Red Guardian because he gets darted and then he's just like whatever and then like 50 darts hit him.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
So we're on the plane. Melena's flying them to the Red Room, which is in the sky. Sister is gonna get experimented on. They're gonna do brain surgery while she's awake for some reason.
Yeah, because they're like, okay, this chemical agent was able to counteract your programming. Let's dissect her brain and figure out how to stop that from happening.
Yes, mom and Scarlet and Dad are in a prison cell, and Milena goes to the bad guy, and he figures out right away that it's not her.
Yeah, he does some classic villain monologuing for like the whole rest of the scene.
Yeah, so it turns out that it's Scarlet disguised as Milena, and Milena's disguised as Scarlet.
Dun dun dun.
Mind blown.
Just before, I did want to call back real quick as well that Yelena, when the avalanche started coming down in the prison break scene, and she was like, "Oh, this is a cool way to die." And, they didn't die, but then when she's about to be like experimented and dissected, she's like, "Oh, this is a crappy way to die."
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Garjo finds out she can't kill the bad guy because he has pheromones.
Yeah, there's still chemical control in her brain.
She also finds out that the robot's actually his daughter because they both survived.
Yes. But she, not only scarred, but also something, brain damage, and he put chips in her and robotic parts.
Yeah. Robot goes to do something else.
Well, he basically sends Taskmaster away because he's like, he says like there's rats in the basement, referring to Melina and Red Guardian, because he's like, go take care of them. Which is too bad, because I think just setting up a fight between Taskmaster and Natasha would be like a good climax. But anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So he's like, look at my secret key that unlocks my bad plans, and let me tell you all about them.
Yeah, some classic villain monologuing.
And he's like, this is a weird line to me where he's like, I'm using the world's most extensive untapped resource. Girl.
Yeah, well, I know, or doesn't he say something about like the world's most like overabundant resource?
Yeah, something
girls?
like that.
Yeah. And I was like,
I just thought it was weird because like I don't know quite what the movie was trying to tell us, because I think it was like trying to be a bit of a girl power movie without like crossing the line and being like super overt like Captain Marvel was.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, well, what is the message you're trying to send me, that like women are like the ultimate killing machine when you take away their agency? Like
yeah, and it's also kind of weird because Yelena reveals how like only 1 in 20 survive the widow process. So like tons of them are just dying. And then he does have like a multi-ethnic group of women. So it's like they're kidnapping women from all around the world.
Yeah, and he's got a big world map with a bunch of red dots, which I assume means something.
Yeah, I assume that's like agents that are already out there. But then it's like the ones that are in the Red Room.
Yeah, there's like a dozen in the Red Room. So did they train them like 12 at a time? Like what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, and like and we also don't see a varying age of the trainees, because again I was like, okay, you can't have Scarlett Johansson beating up a bunch of little girls at the end of the movie. But it also
wish.
Yeah, no, well, that's how the comic one goes. She does fight a bunch of little girls.
No, damn, they all have to be attractive, late teen, like over 18 but under 22, like in peak physical fitness. Like that's just have a bunch of pretty girls fighting each other in a movie.
Yeah, and I also I was unsure exactly as well when he says that. He's like, yeah, the world's like most untapped resources girls. And I'm like, I guess I can kind of see because, there are places around the world, yeah, like where women, they're either, not used or they're not favored because they're not male. And like, there's a stuff, but I was also like, that's not everywhere. So where is he getting all these girls?
Yeah, like I felt like it was trying to have a feminist message, but it just fucked up. It like
Well, or I was thinking that I was like, I don't think I could get it because I just don't have that perspective as well. Like, I'm a guy.
yeah, no, I feel like they didn't quite know what they were trying to say or do. Like it also like there was a lot of even though they don't really talk about like human trafficking, it
Well, that's
seems
what I was to
like
say. It's like obviously there's like a trafficking element to it, right?
yeah, I think they were trying to like make commentary on that, but it kind of fell flat too because they didn't really do anything with it aside from like have that imagery of a bunch of girls standing in front of a shipping container.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, like earlier in that credits montage, they pull Natasha and her sister out of a shipping container with some other
Yeah,
girls. So it's like, okay, these girls were trafficked into Russia, I
but
guess.
like they didn't really talk about trafficking either though. Like they didn't I don't know. They just it seemed like a lot of half-baked ideas.
Well, and that's that. Like I said, this is where I was coming from, where it's like two movies in one, where it's like that her trying to stop like a human trafficking ring of people getting sent to the Red Room. That's a movie in its own, and
Oh,
that's like a
for sure.
solo. Maybe her and just her sister do that. Cool. And then you set up for a sequel where it's like, okay, now we have to take down like the boss of the Red Room, and then we bring in Alexei and Rachel Weisz or whatever. Then you bring all these more elements, and then it becomes bigger. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just spitballing ideas here because I was like, okay, like, because this is something, like I said earlier, it's like I did like the scale of it in that it's like, it's not a world threat, but it's also like, okay, I have agents positioned around the world that can do stuff for me. I'm like, cool, that's classic elite assassin stuff. But it's just like, if only 1 in 20 these girls survive, and we only seen like 10 in the movie, how do you have a worldwide network of them?
Yeah, they would have to just like to have as many as there were dots on his map. I feel like man, they would have to be kidnapping a lot of little girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's Facebook groups that just post fake stats about human trafficking because reasons.
Sure.
I feel like those would all have to be real in order for the
Right.
Red Room to be successful.
Yeah, like the debunked numbers are actually true.
Yeah, because they're training to be super spies.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I think we can both agree. Like I liked his like the idea of his plan, and like okay, he's controlling him from his thing with his mind control, and he's got agents around. But it was just like yeah, it just didn't kind of coalesce correctly. But I did like her. She's got to sit there and listen to him blabbing on because that's her plan, right? I was like, this is obviously classic, just like she's done in the first when she was introduced practically. Well, she didn't do it in Iron Man 2, but she did it in the Avengers, where she's just like, oh, this guy's just telling me everything and I'm just standing here and then take a bunch of punches.
Yep.
And then she
Yeah.
smashes her head on the desk, and I was like, nice.
So she has to smash her head because she has to sever the nerve between her nose and her brain or something.
Yeah, basically like the olfactory nerve.
So she does that, and then she can hurt him.
Yeah.
And then all the widows come and she has to fight them slash just get beat up by them.
Yeah, and it's again it's one of those things where it's like okay, so we can't just have our hero, quote unquote, Natasha Romanoff, murder this guy, like she gets interrupted, right?
Just murder him.
Exactly, just murder him.
Come on, it's fine.
Yeah, but yes, all those widows bust in and they have a intense fight.
They have an intense fight, and then the sister comes and saves the day because mom slipped a knife in her jacket or whatever.
Yeah, and in her like spy suit.
Yeah, she gets out, whatever. She goes to find the widows. They're not in their widow training dojo. So she finds him eventually, and then she puts all the red sparkly stuff in test tubes on a grenade and throws it in the air or whatever, and then it breaks the spell.
Gasses them all, and they're all like, well, shit. I didn't want to be murdering people.
That was stupid. I didn't like it.
Sorry. I mean, what else did you think was going to happen, though?
I don't know. They fight or something. Maybe they could trap them in a room. I don't know, but I thought that it was dumb.
Well, and also...
It was dumb. It looked dumb. And then the conclusion, like, then they're just like, okay, we're fine, bye.
Well, because I was going to say, and also at this same time, the Rachel Weisz has destroyed the engines, and so the ship is crashing out of the sky.
Oh, okay, I guess we should go over that quick. So Mom and Dad are in the cells. They get out. Robot comes down. Dad fights the robot. Mom goes and blows up the engine of the ship. And then comes back to Dad. They lock Robot in their cell. And then they go to get on a plane.
Yeah, and I was going to say, again, one of my favorite comedy moments was when Rachel Weisz is talking to Yelena, and then Alexei starts like talking and trying to explain stuff, because he was saying some heartfelt stuff to who he thought was Natasha, but it wasn't. And then so he's like yelling in his ear, and she's like, "No, you don't have a microphone, like a
earpiece." Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Again, I thought that was a good moment.
That was good. Yeah.
But yeah, and then the fight between Red Guardian and Taskmaster was pretty cool, of course, and because like we said, the Taskmaster can mimic fighting styles, so he busts out some Black Panther, some Captain America, and some other stuff like that. So that was like you said, was quite cool.
Yeah, and then Dad kept the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is in love with Captain America.
He is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all about the escape.
Yeah, so Natasha and sister get separated when they're running somewhere.
Well, so Natasha says, Yelena, like, you and all the widows go. She's like, she's like, I'll be right behind you. I got to finish up here. And then she gets all the data off of, like, the hard drives or whatever.
Yeah, did it look to you like she was putting it on a floppy disk? Because that's what it looked like to me. I'm like, where's your fucking USB stick?
It's like advanced USB in that it's flatter and just, probably holds more. It just looks cooler. If they did a USB stick, people would be like, that's not going to hold that data.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they should just go next level and should have made it like an Infinity Stone style crystal. It's like, yeah, crystal for storage.
Yeah. So she puts it on a floppy disk so that she can review it on her, like, Tandy 1985 computer when she gets home.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously. So she gets the floppy disk and starts running, and then, I don't know, stuff explodes. She decides to free the robot.
Yeah, before she crashes, so there's like a scene when she first leaves and the door opens up of the elevators and there's like fire coming out, and then she's like running towards the window at the camera with the two guns. I thought that shot looked janky for whatever reason. And then she goes flying out. She ends up in a hallway, and I liked this one where she was like running down the hallway and then it was like collapsing and rotating around her. Very Tomb Raider. I liked that scene. I just wish it kind of went on a little longer, and like she had to, like, again, if this was a different type of facility, like where she had to, like, climb up a few things and acrobat her way up, or like she did in Winter Soldier, like through the boat. Anyway, then she meets Taskmaster, and she's like, I'm gonna let you out of the prison. She's like, I'm not your enemy, kind of a thing.
And then Taskmaster tries to kill her anyways.
Yeah, because that's the programming.
So then she runs out to the outside, and sister jumps on the bad guy's plane to make it go boom.
Yeah.
And falls off. So ScarJo runs and jumps off with a parachute and does her cool divey dive down to her sister. Puts the parachute on her, pulls the string, they go up. Taskmaster chases them in by herself, right? She's not on
Yeah.
a plane.
Well, and I was gonna say after that explosion and then when they're all falling through the air and everything, I thought visually, like believability, it's way out the window, but this section looked really cool to me
Yeah,
anyway. I
I
really
agree
liked
with
it.
that.
Yeah, like I thought the fall was starting getting a little too long, but yeah, when she saves the sister, they pull the parachute and she sees Taskmaster coming, and then she jumps off of Yelena and starts falling through the air, and then falling and hitting some debris. And I was like, believability a little out the window, but this looks really cool.
And then they crash into the ground.
Yes, because
And
Taskmaster catches her, and then Taskmaster has a parachute, and then they land.
oh yeah, and then they land. And then they have like, do they fight or does she just be like, no, we're friends now? I can't remember.
So there's a bit of a fight, but again, the Widow uses a bit of her maneuvers to open up her helmet, and then she has one of the vials and then smashes it in her face.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she uses the MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin gas.
And then and they're like, oh, we're friends now.
Well, she kind of goes into a coma because it's not just that, because like mind control, I assume it also messes up with like her robotic parts and her programming and all that stuff, right? So
Oh, okay. Well,
she goes a little comatose.
she's fine.
Eventually, yes.
And so then ScarJo finds her sister and she's like, those 3 years meant something to me too. We're sisters forever. I love you. And then mom and dad show up and they have a family moment. And then the asshole from the beginning is in a car looking for Scarlett Johansson.
General Ross, I assume you mean?
Yeah. So mom and dad and sister leave on a plane that very conveniently shows up with all this Black Widows on it. And they also save Robot and they fly away.
Yeah. And we get a good hero shot, ScarJo in the sunlight.
Yep.
Hero pose in it, and then it just cuts to 2 weeks later.
Cuts to 2 weeks later. We don't know how she got out of it, but now she has a cute short blonde bob, and she finds her friend who got her the trailer in the beginning, and he's got her a jet, and she's like, "We're best friends, and you are a good boy." And he's like, "Finally, somebody recognizes that I'm a good boy."
Well, he does say when she's like, "Oh, you've already been a good friend." He's like, "Ouch!" What every man wants to hear.
Yeah. And then it's implied that she is going to save people from the floating prison.
From the raft, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently I was reading, because this is something that's like you could have included a scene or something, or we just assumed she got away. But apparently there's some supplemental material that talks about that 2 week period. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's kind of like it's weird.
I thought they could have had a mid-credit scene where she's like letting Scott out or something, but maybe Paul Rudd was really busy that week.
Right. It's possible. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it felt so weird because she's like, okay, I'm gonna get captured / turn myself in, because she's like, okay, I'll buy you guys time to get away, and then it's just cut 2 weeks later. She's driving on a motorbike, and you're like, she got away? She's okay? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. What did happen?
Yeah.
And then we get a post-credit scene.
Yep.
Sister is visiting ScarJo's grave, because we assume this happened post-Endgame.
Yes.
Because she's dead.
Yeah.
And she's visiting the grave, and then Elaine from Seinfeld shows up.
Contessa, yeah.
Who now has a very stylish purple streak in her hair, which I like.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've got a job for you. And she's like, this is my day off. Go away. And she's like, can't. Sorry. And she's like, I need you to kill the man who killed your sister. And then on her iPad, it's a picture of a Hawkeye.
Bum, bum, bum.
Which I assume is setting up the Hawkeye TV show that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the end.
And that's the end. Yeah.
Theater lights go up. Everybody files out in an orderly fashion, and make sure to bring your garbage with you and throw it in the garbage can.
Actually, quick outside note, so sort of like you know how I hate trailers, and I've talked about this kind of thing before. When I went and saw the movie, I went because I went to the VIP, showed up, placed an order for a snack, went to the washroom, and then like got changed because I just came from work. And as I was going back in the theater, there was the No Time to Die trailer on, so I was like, oh, I don't want to see that. I'll just like stand out here. So I'm standing outside and just had like my music going, and the worker woman kind of approached me. She's like, "Do you need help with something, sir?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't like trailers." Like I had to explain. I'm like, "This is insane. I know. I don't like trailers." And then she was kind of like, "Yeah, like." Because I was like, kind of ruins expectations, shows me. I was like, it's James Bond. I'm gonna go see it. She's like, yeah. And she's like, that kind of makes sense. And I was like, yes, convert another person. Stop watching trailers.
Hey, although I am going to say that trailer was good enough that it made me want to watch it. And I don't really care for James Bond movies, specifically Daniel Craig as James Bond. So,
yeah, interesting. Like I said,
but
I like watching trailers after I've seen the movie, and I can appreciate kind of what they put together. But many times trailers suck.
well, it was a good trailer.
Oh, cool.
It made me want to watch it. I think it spoiled a bunch and it would drive you crazy, but it did
Yeah,
make me want to watch it. So maybe we'll have to review it.
absolutely. Um,
Also, there was a trailer for another Marvel movie coming out about, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Legend of the Ten Rings or something
yeah,
like that.
that was one of the trailers I was trying to avoid as well. It's Shang-Chi.
That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that was one of the reasons I wasn't watching trailers. I was like, I don't want to see a Shang-Chi trailer because there will definitely be one.
There was, in fact, there was also a trailer for the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes
Yeah.
movie, which has similar vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. But
I'm
anyway,
sure there were other trailers, but I can't remember what any of them were.
oh yeah, there was a bunch, but yeah, it was an interesting ending, and I think one thing that's kind of really interesting is that, of course, this movie was meant to come out before, excuse me, any of the Marvel shows were, especially Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because the Contessa, of course, is introduced in that, where it would have been teased in this, and people have been like, oh, what's going on here with this with Valentina, and then so it's like that's already been kind of thing, and as well as the Red Guardian talking about fighting other Captain Americas, that it's like again that was something that was revealed in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where it would have been teased in this that you're like, wait, what's going on? What's he talking about? But there was other Captain Americas, or was it Captain America? But
Oh, I missed that in this movie. I don't know
so
how.
well, and it's kind of an interesting idea in that so that we know that guy Isaiah Bradley from when Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he was a super soldier, so there may have been others. The comics, of course, had other Captain Americas after Steve Rogers went into the ice. But I liked
Right.
one kind of idea was that maybe because he asked Natasha, he's like, "Joel, did you ever talk about him and me fighting and stuff like that?" And she's like, "No, what are you talking about?" In that it could have been not in the timeline yet because it could have been Steve when he went back to the past and still did do some missions like covertly for Shield or whoever. And so he went and actually did fight him, but it was like future Captain America, not past Captain America.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea to think about that it's like, yeah, it was Steve Rogers. He did do some stuff despite, trying to lay low.
So you're saying that there could be more Chris Evans movies?
Yeah, or like,
Chris,
yeah, it could be just like maybe like a fun one shot or like a little short movie or something. But it's just, I was
or
like, oh,
a
that's kind
six-episode TV show?
of, or a 6 episode TV show, sure. I just thought it was a neat idea. I was like, that's a kind of a neat theory because he's talking about fighting Captain America. And it's like, as far as we know in the MCU, there was no Cap after he went into the ice until he came out. All right.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so there was just some kind of neat stuff there. But I just thought again that it was like in the meta outside, like these ideas were meant to be teased in this movie, and then we were going to get more of that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where it went backwards
It went backwards. Yeah.
because of the pandemic and stuff. So
You know the actor that played the dude, the dad?
David Harbour, yeah.
Yeah, what else is he in?
He was Hellboy. He's also been in
He was
Stranger
Hellboy?
Things. Yeah, remember the Hellboy like 2019 or 18 one? We did an episode about it. Remember? We saw it in
Oh.
theater.
Oh,
And
wow. I wouldn't have put that together.
yeah, no, and he got bigger in Stranger Things. I'm sure he's been in many other things previously, but that's kind of I know he's been in a couple other movies. I've seen him,
I think
but
I recognize him from Stranger Things memes.
yeah, that's like I said, that's where he came kind of more into the mainstream,
Okay.
and it was from Stranger Things. But yeah, no, I thought he was really good. I thought he was great.
Yeah, I
Uh,
liked him a lot.
yeah,
He feel like I know this isn't what the case is, but he feels like an actor that was maybe like a character actor for a long time.
hmm
You know? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
You're just saying he's got the acting chops.
No, he feels like a dude that was in a lot of stuff. You know what
Yeah, no,
you know what I feel like he would be in is like uh, a movie that doesn't do well theatrically, but like gets a bunch of Oscar nominations, but doesn't win any of them. Like maybe about a reporter doing something and he plays the reporter.
sure.
That's what he feels like to me. I hope that makes some sort of sense.
Yeah, no, like I said, yeah, I thought he was really good in the role, and I it'd be cool to see him in some future adventure.
Ooh, or like an Oscar bait movie that like he's like a dad and his son is trans and he like doesn't know how to feel about it and he's kind of like a jerk at the beginning, but then he becomes like a trans advocate after his kid dies, something like that. That seems like the kind of movie that he would be.
Nice. Well, you should write it and send it to his agent.
I
That's perfect.
will. I'll be like, listen, guaranteed Oscar
Oscar play.
nomination.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get his wife his divorced because he's divorced, right? His
Mhm.
wife can be played by like Julia Roberts, but she's only in the movie for like a total of 5 minutes of screen time, but she gets nominated for like best supporting actress.
Yeah. Kind of a
Yeah.
la like Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, or like when Judi Dench won for being like best supporting actress in Shakespeare in Love, but she's only on screen for 8 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. She was great in that, though. She was the only good part of that movie.
Fair enough.
I will stop digressing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have any other thoughts about Black Widow that you didn't hit on when we were talking about it when we were talking through it there?
I mean, like, it's an enjoyable movie. The fight choreography is very cool. Nobody is bad in it, but the sister is a standout.
hmm
And I didn't like whatever they were trying to do with the other widows.
Right. Yeah, and actually, it's interesting that because you highlighting the fight and stuff. Now that I'm like been as we've been talking about it, thinking through, and I was like, yeah, no, the fight scenes were really good. They were really put together well.
Yeah, the choreography was really, it was good. It was like, it was fun to watch, but it also felt like believable moves.
Yeah, and that was what I was trying to highlight earlier as well. In that they with the character of Black Widow that has she's portrayed it is that yeah, like her fighting style is she does do some acrobatic flipping, but it's not as balletic and acrobatic, and it's more like a Jason Bourne meets like a Batman meets some acrobatics. So it's like it's more believable, but then it's also it doesn't go hyper uh, balletic with it with her combat. It's more efficient and more economical, which is what you would be like, I'm sure. But like I said, it's a different portrayal, and it's kind of interesting that it's unfortunate that we won't see more. But I could like cause Scarlett Johansson's been doing the role for what like a decade now, so it's like okay, it's a good chunk of career, but you can move on from that, I guess.
Yeah, I just talking about Scarlett Johansson's fight choreography in general in what she's been in.
hmm
I do feel like in other Marvel movies, probably choreographed by different people,
Right.
um, it's a lot sillier in some movies, like in Civil War in particular, in like that opening scene. She does a lot of like running and jumping at people's face crotch first.
Right, yes.
And like that looks really dumb. But it's a much cooler, believable fight style in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to point out that
sure.
I do not like when she jumps at people crotch first with her legs spread eagled so that she can do a weird scissor takedown. I think it looks stupid and it would be ineffective.
Right. Yeah, and I think overall for me in the movie, I thought the Sky Fortress it could have been a different base scenario, and I think it still could have been just as cool, and then you could have maybe done something different. And I think, just like I said, it obviously couldn't have been as marketable, but I was expecting, especially after, Yelena stabs that woman, that I was like, all right, we're going to do something like a little more gritty, a little more like straight like that. But then it just kind of goes a little crazy in some areas. But overall, I enjoyed the movie as well. And it's just, like I said, it's just too bad that this wasn't movie 2 and then there was a movie before it, because I've always liked the Black Widow. Then I'm like, man, it'd be cool to see more of her, because she's always just in the ensemble.
I feel like it's a Marvel movie, and Marvel movies just don't really disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I know, the Red Letter Media guys, the Jay at one point, they're consistently solid. Whether some are slightly better, some are slightly not as good, there's a solid line through them that they do a good job.
Yeah, I agree with that. I haven't watched that yet. I'll have to watch it after this.
They were kind of down on it, which I was surprised at.
I'm not. They don't seem to really like any Marvel movies. They always have something negative to say about them.
That's true. That's true. But
yeah, they're instead like Jay wants to watch a really horrific horror movie that has weird sex stuff in it and strange lighting, and Mike wants to watch a comedian in a sad role who has cancer.
Well, or a schlocky action movie, or
schlocky.
Yeah,
so I just feel like Mike, when he like really connects with movies, it's like this really depressing one.
Nice.
And Rich I don't know what he wants. I think he wants to watch Star Wars, but
he wants chaos.
He wants chaos, yeah. Okay.
The scale was interesting, but it could have been toned back, or it could have been good for like a secondary movie. But I think it's kind of almost like an issue where, depending on where you set the movie, it's like it's got to be a big thing, because it can't just be a small thing, because it's like, this is after Civil War. So it's just like, whoa, that was huge. And you're like, well, now we just have to stop like this small thing. And you're like, eh.
I think I would have been fine with a small thing. Like, I think I would have been fine with just a movie about her spying.
Yeah.
And like,
she's a spy.
Maybe the climax could have been that she got captured and she had to escape. Like, that would have been fine with me.
Actually, yeah, that's kind of also spitballing a different idea, where it's like, it's her figuring out how to bust her friends out of the raft. And
I would have watched that movie for sure.
Yeah, like that's kind of also interesting.
Or maybe they couldn't afford all those actors, or I don't know.
You just get some you just have them in a monitor. They have footage of them. They're just like in a monitor. It's fine.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just her spying and trying to figure it out, and how to defeat Tony Stark's security and etc. Right? So it's just like, anyway, many things that could be done. It's a comic book world and universe. So there's many ideas.
True.
But yes, I think at the end of the day, recommend, check it out.
Agreed.
Plus, it was nice to go to the theater.
It was super nice to go to the theater. I'm glad that they're open again.
Mm-hmm.
I own stock in Cineplex because I wanted them to open faster.
Nice.
Like, my $14 purchasing the stock, no, it was less than that. It was like, I think they're worth $14 now, but when I purchased it, it was worth like $13. So
blam.
I know. When I was like, I'm going to buy these 2 stocks in Cineplex to make them open faster. And it worked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Correlation is causation.
And then I went and saw it at the Landmark Theater in New West.
Nice.
I wonder if I can buy stock in Landmark.
Aren't they independent?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyways, enough about my stocks.
Yeah, no, we're yeah, so what's next on the MCU horizon? I mean, we're gonna do a show about the Loki show, of course.
Yes. That was great.
And yeah, I don't know, what is the next thing they got? They don't really have anything until like their full like phase going, right?
I think the next one is the Ten Rings, isn't it?
Oh, I guess Shang-Chi, yeah.
And then I think, is it Ant-Man and the Wasp, the Quantitanium next, or is it? It might be Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I was looking at a graphic yesterday of just like everything that's coming out, but I just couldn't remember what's next, kind of a thing. But it was, yeah, the multiverse is coming out, of course, and then they have some more shows on the line and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a She-Hulk show, and I'm super excited. But I know I'm already like disappointed because what I would like, I'm excited and disappointed.
Yeah.
What I would really like it to be, but would make me the happiest, if it was just like a law show about her being a lawyer, but also being a big green lawyer.
Yeah, being She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've talked about this idea before that you're like, yeah, it should be like a courtroom drama, but she
That's
also
what I
happens
want.
to be She-Hulk.
But it's not going to be that. She's going to be like fighting crime and stuff. But I wish it was just like Aaron Brockovich, but instead of Aaron Brockovich, it's She-Hulk.
It's She-Hulk, yeah.
Because she can't change back and forth. She's always the Hulk.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
In the Civil War comic storyline, which because I've read that, that's basically she is lawyer She-Hulk the entire time. Like, 'cause she doesn't join like either side. She's just like lawyers for some guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the 90s, anyways. I don't know how long she's been a character for, but in 91, her backstory was that she got a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce, and that's why she became She-Hulk. But she was permanently She-Hulk, and she couldn't change back and forth.
Yeah.
I loved her. I thought she was like so cool. And, like, she's a big broccoli woman
Mm-hmm.
and a lawyer, and she like just rocks out in her greenness. Very cool. Big, tall, strong lady. I'm into it.
I mean, yeah, and like I was just kind of saying as well, so far nothing has been like insanely disappointing where I'm like, I'm never going to see any of these again. I'm like, no, I'm in. Like, they keep on making consistently good stuff, and I'm excited about some of the Thor: Love and Thunder and stuff like that, Guardians. I'm excited for some of these projects. So yeah.
I believe Thor comes out before Multiverse of Madness.
Really? I thought Thor: Love and Thunder got pushed back to like 2022. I mean, I guess that's next year.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Now I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up.
I was about to say, I'm gonna type it up here. Marvel.
Do it.
Where are we at? Phase 5 or Phase 4? Images.
Phase 26.
Yeah. I think we're in Phase 5 or whatever. Oh, no, okay, here we go. Although this is probably different because of the pandemic. Let's see, like She-Hulk has been slated for 2022. Yeah, so yeah, there's supposed to be a What If show coming out not too long from now.
That's a cartoon.
Yeah, okay. Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, Moon Knight.
I believe Miss Marvel is also
a cartoon, yeah.
Cartoon. Hawkeye's live action. I don't know about Moon Knight. Is that supposed to be live action or animated?
I think that's a show. Yeah, I thought, isn't that supposed to be Oscar Isaacs?
Oh, right. Yeah, so that's live action. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
He's a cool character.
This one I'm looking at is out of date because it has the wrong pandemic dates. Because it's like, it shows Black Widow is in May, so that's not, or no, yeah, that didn't happen. So it's like Shang-Chi, there's supposed to be an Eternals, and Spider-Man, Thor: Love and Thunder is still slated for 2022 in this. Same thing with the
I
Doctor
found
Strange.
a list that was updated on July 8th. Black Widow, we got that.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi comes out September 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Eternals comes out November 5th. Spider-Man No Way Home comes out December 17th.
Okay, so this isn't too far out of date. So far
Doctor
is matching.
Strange Multiverse of Madness comes out March 25th. Thor Love and Thunder comes out May 6th, 2022.
Yeah, this is all 2022 now.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever comes out July 8th, 2022. The Marvels is November 11th, 2022. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Yeah, that comes out February 17th, 2023. Guardians 3 is May 5th, 2023. And the Fantastic Four is TBA.
Yeah, also Blade is in there, I think, in 2023. Slated, anyway.
Oh, nice. And then for TV shows, we get What If starts in August. Hawkeye is late 2021. Miss Marvel is late 2021. Moon Knight, She-Hulk, The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and Secret Invasion is 2022.
Yeah. Plus, they've announced Ironheart and Armor Wars.
Yes, but that's a TBA. Same with the Untitled Wakanda series.
Oh, really? They're going to do a Wakanda series? Interesting.
I believe it's about the main bodyguard girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what do they call them? I was thinking of something else. They have that specific name because they say it like a ton of times in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I can't remember, but I think it would be really cool, and I'd be super into that show.
Sure. Yeah.
They were one of the best parts of the Winter Soldier. The
show, yeah.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yeah.
Yeah, no, they were excellent.
Yes. Okay, we should wrap up because we've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
So, if you have enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us on whatever. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Tome of Uselessness, or you can visit our website, tomeofuselessness.com, or you can send us an email and say, you're wrong about everything and we hate you. tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. You could also say nice things, but feel like we haven't made it till we get hate comments.
Well, and also, topic suggestions, questions, and stuff like that. We have gotten topic suggestions before, which we did do an episode or two with, so.
Yeah, no, none of that. Just say mean stuff. Make us cry.
Oh.
No, Dan, that's how we know that we're doing well. And that's it. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful life, and bye.
Yeah, stay safe, and thanks for listening.